Now I've got an idea that I want to share with you, a proposal actually, and a little story about Chinese medicine history of a particular program that they had. It's called the Barefoot Doctors Program. During and after the Cultural Revolution, the winner of that revolution, his name, Mao Zedong, he had a remarkable idea. And he initiated this idea because basically they had very little healthcare, hospitals and doctors that were able to provide the services to the people, to the millions of people in China. And it was called the Barefoot Doctors Program. With minimal training, 3 to 6 months, villagers and rice farmers and so on were taught basic hygiene, a little bit of, child care, midwifery, first aid, a little bit of acupuncture and other techniques, some herbs for treating different things. But anyway, actually it was, here it is here. This is the revised manual for the Barefoot Doctors Program. And it's an incredible book. It's quite comprehensive. And in 3 to 6 months training, these people who were certified as barefoot doctors were sent out into the countryside, to the villages, to provide these basic essential services. And it was very successful. Now I'm proposing that we have a variation of this same concept of providing these services to the masses, but with a slightly different focus for our opioid crisis. Right now we have a kind of a novel idea. We call them peer support workers. And these actually peer support workers here in Canada, Vancouver, throughout America, and even in China, they have this rewriting of the barefoot doctor concept. So what I'm proposing here is that we have a barefoot bioelectrode therapy doctor program with very minimal training. Peer support workers and Chinese medicine practitioners, acupuncturists can learn bioelectrode therapy, and for the peer support workers, basically they can learn one protocol, the application of copper and silver electrodes, no needles required, no medicine required. Simply place these electrodes on the fingers and the toes, and bingo, you get remarkable results. You secure these electrodes with polyurethane patches. Actually, patches like this. And they're actually pimple patches, but they stay on the skin really, really well. And anyway, so teaching these peer support workers one simple protocol, and they can go outreach on the streets, into the homes, helping people, drug-addicted individuals, or even alcoholics, any drug, for example. But right now we have the opioid crisis, and that's my current focus. To create a groundswell, a grassroots level of minimally trained people to go out there and provide this treatment, this therapy. Because when you put these electrodes on the fingers and toes of one hand, one foot, or both hands, both feet, you have I would say close to complete relief of withdrawal stress, acute withdrawal stress, as well as post-acute withdrawal. And with a little bit of training, you can learn how to treat all kinds of pain problems, because our bodies are electric. Dr. Robert Becker wrote the book called The Body Electric, and he was the pioneer in creating, in bioelectricity. And he did amazing things. A phenomenal giant in the field of bioelectricity. But what we're doing here with bioelectrode therapy, also being referred to as acupoint bioelectricity, or some version of that, where we only use electrodes. No equipment, no needles, no high level of expertise required. Just the electrodes, the stickers, some applicators, and you can go out and do amazing work. You can relieve that acute withdrawal. Because right now we have our medical system has what's called a brain disease model, which basically is maintenance, maintaining you on medications, opioids, variations of opioids. But they don't believe you can get well. They think that you're so broken that you're unable to be repaired. So they keep you on these, and you're a lifer, a virtual lifer on these. Very few people will even attempt to get off these medications because the withdrawal is so painful, anguish, withdrawal, insomnia, cramping, aching, sweating, constipation. Constipation goes on for a week and longer. No sex life. And, it's when I first started in the field of addictions 40 years ago, this was unheard of. It was heroin and maybe a little bit of marijuana and cocaine. And if you really searched for it, you might find somebody in the back lane using a little heroin. Now it's all these other synthetic fentanyl and carfentanil and all these other drugs, and methadone and Suboxone and Sublocade and morphine and Acadia, all these things. There are just so many different types of synthetic opioids which are almost impossible to come off of. But with bioelectrode therapy, within minutes of the application of these electrodes properly, the protocols, which are freely available on my website. No tools except these. That's all you need. You can almost fit them in your pocket there. But you can relieve all that suffering, and people can actually suddenly be relaxed and comfortable, and they can sleep through the night, and they don't have the craving, they don't have the anxiety. Their complex pain issues can be addressed. So they can listen, they can hear, they can actually consider maybe going to treatment or getting a counselor or getting whatever, all the other services. But for the most part, in most parts of the world, these services are simply not even available. And yet, the opioid crisis is everywhere, from Tuktoyaktuk to Timbuktu to Kathmandu and Bombay. So with this particular protocol taught by people in recovery or healthcare workers or the basic opioid protocol is so simple. But I'm going to approach Chinese medicine colleges, acupuncture schools, and so on. They can be the leaders, because what we're doing here is we are merging the science of bioelectricity with the science, the 5,000-year-old science of Chinese medicine, meridians, acupuncture points, qi flow. It's all energy. But anyway, so that's my goal, and right now the world is in chaos. 100,000 people every year in America, in the U.S., are dying annually from suicide and opioid overdose. And it's costing the taxpayers over $2.5 trillion annually. This is totally unacceptable. I've contacted the health minister, the deputy health minister, all kinds of directors and managers in addiction services, and they just don't want to hear it. For whatever reason, they can't believe that it can't happen. I don't know what it is exactly, that they won't even respond to to solid proposals of how to change the way we treat addictions. And so, I'm a bit of a loss why they won't even consider this. I send them videos of people being treated. My proposals are fairly well formatted and everything, and yet I don't even get a response. To me, that's, what can I say? That's neglect. That's, we have a duty to care as practitioners in the field of addictions. And I was almost fired for having that duty to care and administering treatments to people which will relieve their pain. The model is so well established that we can't count on that model, brain disease model, addiction services currently. We have to go from the ground up, train this army virtual army of bioelectrode therapy practitioners, Barefoot Doctors, Barefoot BeT Doctors, to go out there. And a strange thing about recovery, a lot of the people who work in the field of addictions are in recovery, and they want to give back. And what an opportunity to give back. You're helping yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, as well as physically. If you ever have physical pain, you can treat it with bioelectrode therapy. Headaches, back pain, you name it, any kind of, gynecological problems, prostate problem, you name it. It's all can be treated with this simple therapy. You're just directing the body's own endogenous electrical circuitry. And we're using Chinese medicine meridians and acupuncture points. And it's a remarkable therapy. And it's my objective before I expire is to get this out there and, maybe ease some of the suffering internationally. Like I say, everywhere. You'll find drugs everywhere. You can go any town, any city in the countryside, villages. Anyway, so you get the drift, and just take a little time to get this army established, but it's going to happen, and it's going to be an effective way to address the opioid crisis. And sooner or later, people up there will take notice, and they will integrate it. Currently, since 1996, we've integrated Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and so on into the medical system. But they're stuck. They're not moving forward with it. They won't allow us. I do. I can get away with it in my particular treatment center where I'm employed, but other acupuncturists stuck with the NADA protocol. NADA protocol, great. It's great, but we can do so much more, and we personally have a duty to care. When we see somebody in pain and anguish, we have to use our skills, our training, and so on and so with BET, bioelectrode therapy, is just another tool, but it's an extraordinary tool, capable of relieving a lot of suffering and addressing the opioid crisis. But anyway, that's a start, and look forward to talking more and showing you where we're going with this project. Feel free to contact me if you want to be a part of this army. Sign up. The wages are not that great, but it's the heart, it's the service, it's healing the world, saving lives. Anyway, that's a wrap. Stay curious. One thing I have to say, we have to think out of the box. What do they say, that old proverb, you repeat doing what you're keeping on doing is a form of sanity? Well, it's worse than that. Look what's happening on the streets. The suffering is exponential. And it's only going to get worse unless we find a new model, a new way. The Barefoot Doctor Bioelectrode Therapy way. You too can be a Barefoot Doctor. Treat your treat yourself, treat your family, treat your friends. And there's no shortage of people suffering out there. Anyway, again, that's a wrap. Thank you.